Mindset is a set of attitudes regarded as typical of a particular group's social or cultural values. The outlook, philosophy, values of a person, or worded differently, your frame of mind, attitude, and disposition. Essentially, mindset is our thoughts and our beliefs based on um, where we come from, our frame of mind, and our attitude, and then our disposition. It comes directly from how we were raised, it comes from the friends that we had, comes from the sports that we played, comes from the coaches we had, comes from the grandparents, aunts, uncles, neighbors, like anybody who influenced us as we were growing up influenced our mindset. And we certainly, as we get older and as we start thinking for ourselves, we certainly start to adopt our own way of thinking, right? If you grew up somewhere, and I'm not going to dive heavy into growing up places, and that's not the intention of this. I do that over in my private coaching group. I don't do that here, but just to give you like a framework of yes, everything comes from your foundation from where you grew up from. So, good, bad, and different. We bring everything with us and we use it as strengths. The things that we don't want to use, we get rid of. We identify that there are things that we don't want to use, so we get rid of them. So, along those lines of when your mindset is developing, what I have been helping people realize for 20 years is if you have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. So, a fixed mindset would be someone who thinks like this: either I'm good at it or I'm not. That's a fixed mindset because that is keeping you from looking at something, learning it, and getting better at it. If I'm just good at it, I'm either good at it or I'm not. So that means that just because you bounced a basketball once at the age of 1 and you couldn't dribble means that you're never gonna learn how to dribble or learn how to play the game more or progress. We wouldn't have NBA players if that was the case, because I personally believe, me as a life coach, as a mental health therapist, now as an online entrepreneur, I truly believe that I was born to do that. But I embraced it also. I knew from a very young age that I didn't want to do things the way that everyone else does them. So, if you have a fixed mindset, you think either I'm good at it or I'm not. That's going to keep you fixed in place, because then what are you going to do? You're never going to try to do anything different, right? You're just going to be like, nah, I'm not good at that. So, for everyone here that's building an online business, if you're just going to say, hey, I'm not good at building an online business, shit, you just cut yourself off at the knees. Who's good at doing something for the very first time? Even if you're good at doing something the very first time you do it, it doesn't mean that there's not room for growth. So that's the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Someone who has a growth mindset would say, hey, you know what? Like, I really like doing that and I know I can get better. So I'm going to keep practicing and I'm going to get better at it, regardless of what that is. I'll give you an example. My son, right now, he decided to join a bowling league, right? He's been bowling since he's been old enough to hold a bowling ball. I know how to throw a ball down a lane. So essentially, I guess I know how to bowl, but I've never been on a league. I've never been on a team. I've never had instruction. I can show someone how to take a ball and throw it down. You may or may not you may or may not hit the pins. So he's been bowling since he was old enough to hold a bowling ball. He loves it. Over the summer, we went bowling, found out they have a bowling league. He's only done 2 weeks, right? He has, from the first day, a dad who's also a coach came over to me and pointed out some things that he was watching him do. And I asked him, I said, can you please share that with him? Because I'm not a bowling coach, right? I'm just mom. He went over and he shared them. My son The next time it was his turn, he went right up and he made those adjustments. And you know what? He carried his team for that game. He had the highest score, 148. And it was just because he listened to the feedback that was given to him, he made the adjustments and he improved. If he had a fixed mindset and was like, yeah, I suck, he would have quit after day one. He doesn't. He has a growth mindset. And that's because as I'm raising him, I'm giving him that foundation of growth, right? I'm not locking him into thinking a certain way. I'm locking him into thinking that you can grow, you can achieve. But look at the skills that are needed, right? And yes, there are definitely people who get stuck because the way that we think about things is directly related to our attitude about things, which is directly related to the action that we take, right? So, starting this online business, I have gone through a roller coaster of mindset, right? Roller coaster of mindset struggles. And I've been working for myself for 16 years. So I know I can do it. I know I'm successful. I know what my skills are, right? Online business is very different from what I do in person as far as the way I get clients and stuff like that. So that's squirrel off, whatever. But if you feel like you're not good at something, look at what that something is. Look at the skills that are required to improve on that something. Work on improving those skills, right? Isn't this what coaches do in online, on professional sports, minor league sports, any kind of sports, right? So if you're a batter and you're constantly hitting fouls, right? Your coach is going to be like, all right, you know what? We need to fix your feet. We need to fix your hips. We need to fix your arms. Like they're going to tweak those adjustments. And then before you know it, you're hitting it clean down the first baseline, right? Like just right out of the people who are going to catch it, like the first baseman or the outfielders or whatever. You're able to hit that ball and direct that ball. Just because you do something one time doesn't mean you can't get good at it, right? So that's the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Another thought process that will lead you to identify whether you're of a fixed mindset or not is you can oftentimes think, that's just who I am. I can't change. Oh my, that is so not true. So not true. Your personality and your temperament is definitely something you are born with. I truly believe that, right? That does not mean that what comes out your mouth is what you're born with. That does not mean that the way that you think is what you're born with. That does not mean that the actions you take are what you're born with, right? That's a really dangerous way of thinking because you are who you are because you choose to be who you are. I'll say that again. You are who you are because it's who you choose to be. There are people that come from very bad situations that do phenomenally good things. There are people who come from phenomenally good situations who do really bad, shitty things, right? So that's a really dangerous way to think that I'm just who I am and I can't change, right? If you're born with blue eyes, can you change that? Sure. You can buy contact lenses and you can change that. Can you permanently change it? I don't know. People do funky things with their eyes, but I'm not sure if it's anything's permanent. I know you can like dye your pupils black. I've seen that, but no thanks. Um, can you change without surgery? Can you change your body structure? No, you can't. Your framework, your bone, your skeletal system is what it is. If you're 5'7", until you get to the age where you start to shrink, you can be 5'7", right? So there are things that you can't change, right? Who gives a shit how tall you are, right? Some people are, some people do get a little like self-conscious with how tall or how tall, deficient. They are vertically challenged. I'm 5'7", my mother's 4'11", right? So I always call her vertically challenged. I've always had to reach everything for her because she's not tall enough to, pretty much she can reach on top of the countertop. But you understand what I'm saying, right? There are a lot of things about yourself that you can change. You can change the way you think. You can change it. It takes work. It takes the proper tools for you. Okay. There are a lot of tools out there. There are a lot of strategies out there. There are a lot of things that people can use. There are a lot of things that people teach. However, I am of the mindset, and the way I work is everything is specifically tailored to the person I'm working with, because I do not believe that cookie cutter things work for most people. In my experience, cookie cutter things do not work for most people. Now, that doesn't mean that one strategy can't be used across the board for hundreds of people. Certainly can, right? But find the tools that work for you to change the way that you think if you want to grow, right? Here's another fixed mindset. If you have to work hard, you don't have the ability. What? That's similar to, if I'm not good at it, I'm not going to be good at it. If you have to work hard at something, you may not like working hard, right? I'm not a fan of working hard. I like things to be simple. I like a 2 to 3 step process. That's why everything that I learn in online marketing with high ticket affiliate marketing and online business growth, I break it all down into very simple frameworks, right? Because that's what works for me. So then I pass that on to other people. And the people that I've worked with so far really truly appreciate the breakdown of the framework, right? Because sometimes things get too complex, right? As your business scales, your business is going to scale. It's going to get complex, but if you can keep the framework not simple, but if you can keep the framework to as few steps as possible, it's just easier to understand, right? So, another example of a fixed mindset: if I don't try, then I won't fail. Hell, that is certainly true. If you don't try at anything, then you can't possibly fail. But you know what? If you don't try, you also can't succeed, right? You also can't find those successes. You also can't make a difference in possibly somebody else's life. You also can't make a difference in your life, right? You're also not going to be able to achieve the change in the areas that you want to achieve change in, right? So, sure, sit back and be like, yeah, if I don't try, I won't fail. Absolutely. And you know what? Quick personal story. I have failed at being a loser. Think about that statement, right? I have failed at being a loser. I set a weight loss goal for myself last year. I have the vision board right there on my closet door. I look at that sucker every single day, right? It has been a year. Not only have I failed at being a loser, I've gained. How messed up is that, right? That's how easy it is to get off of your best laid plans, right? That's how easy it is to fall off of those strategies that mean so much to you. I've let other things get in the way. I've put myself last. I haven't showed up for myself. And you know what? Here I am 12 months later, and I failed at being a loser, right? Does that mean that I can't start from tomorrow, start from today, keep showing up every day, keep working with my personal trainer? Absolutely. Just because I've failed 52,000 times before doesn't mean that the next time I do it, I won't succeed, because I have a growth mindset. I don't have a fixed mindset. The job position is totally out of my league. I have worked with so many people that say this, okay? Now, let's put this in context. If you've never been to medical school and you're applying to be a surgeon, that job is way out of your league, right? You don't have the education, you don't have the training. So again, you could go big, you could go ridiculous, right? With these examples if you wanted to. I would encourage you not to, but you could. But if you're going, say you've been working at a company, if you're an employee and you love what you do, say you've been working at a company for a little while and there's a job position that opens up that is like maybe two levels above what you're doing right now. You've received the training, you have received the feedback, you've worked with a team. Say it's a supervisory position, right? Two levels above what you're doing right now. And you've had the training for it, right? You know the systems, you've got good people skills, people give you good feedback, you're good to work with, you're good to work for, right? Then absolutely not. That job is not out of your league. What's the worst that could happen? You apply for it and they say, yep, you know what? We're looking for someone who has these two skills also. And we have training coming up for those. We want to lock you into that training. It's a 4-week training. So we're going to hold the position as a supervisor, right? We're going to hold that position. We're going to get you through that training and then we're going to interview you for it afterwards based on the feedback, right? What's the worst that could happen if you apply for something? They say no. So what? That doesn't mean that you can't go and gain the skills to make yourself marketable the next time you want to do it, right? So again, don't get ridiculous and scroll off into how it all could be like whatever, right? Because we could do that all day long. That's just a waste of time. So, someone who has a growth mindset thinks I can learn to do anything, right? That is completely true. Does it mean that you're going to turn it into a job? Does it mean that you're going to turn it into a business? Does it mean you're going to turn it into income generating things? No, I'm never going to play in the NBA. Can I play basketball? Sure. I can dribble a ball. I can throw it. I can score, right? Can I play baseball? Sure. Absolutely can. I was on a softball team when I was younger. Can I play? Sure. Am I ever going to be on TV playing? I could make a list, right? I can paint. Am I ever going to be am I ever going to be compared to Van Gogh? Probably not, right? But I can do it, right? You can learn anything. Anything that you want to learn, you can learn as long as you have the place that is going to teach you, the people that are going to guide you, you can learn. Another growth mindset is I'm constantly evolving and a work in progress. Absolutely true. For anyone who has started an online business, you have, if you started 2 months ago, you have grown and you have evolved and you have progressed from where you were 2 months ago because 2 months worth more of knowledge if you've been showing up for things than you did 2 months ago. So that's a growth mindset, right? You're constantly growing, learning. The more you challenge yourself, the smarter you become, right? Now, everyone views smart and intelligence, I think, in different ways. Everyone uses it for different ways. There are people that are book smart, so they retain a lot of information, they can use it, they can teach it, they can stuff like that. And then there are other people who become smart in one specific thing because that's what their passion is. So you can become smarter in anything that you do, more knowledgeable. I only fail when I stop trying. That is a growth mindset, right? How do you deal with imposter syndrome? Oh boy. Yeah, that's a good one. So, imposter syndrome, I have a question for everyone that's live. What I have found in the online space, and again, I'm mindset coach and also high ticket affiliate marketer. What I have found that has truly given me horse blinders is I look at it as I am learning something, I'm doing something about it, and then I'm creating something, right? So I'm learning a skill. I am doing something about it. I'm sharing that skill with everyone else, right? In my audience, on my social media platforms, written content, whatever it might be, email marketing, whatever it is that you're using, right? So I learn something, I do something about it. So I'm passing on that information, and then you create something. So you go on, you do a live, you create a live video, you do a live training, you do a training in your Facebook group, in your on FUD, on TikTok, on Pinterest, whatever it is that whatever platform you're using, or if you're using them all, right? That's learn, do, teach. You may hear that from a lot of programs, right? Learn, do, teach. So learn something, do something about it, create something about it. If you do, that's a great way to really build up that armor for imposter syndrome, because you're not coming across like that person who's been doing it for 2 years and they're highly successful. You're coming across as someone who just learned something and you're sharing it with the audience. That's it. So that is one of the best ways to really ward off imposter syndrome is learn something, do something about it, create something from it, and be honest with your audience about where you're learning it from, and be honest, right? People know, they can tell. Most people can tell by the way that you're talking if you've had a lot of experience or not, right? Because you just can. The more experience you have, the more passion you have, the easier that you can talk about things. You can come up with examples, you can use it in different ways. Whereas if you just learn something, you're not going to be able to do that, because if you've just learned it, then you're only going to be able to use it how you just learned it. But once you start using it, you're going to learn about it more. You're going to learn about it more. You're going to learn about it more. You're going to be able to talk about it more, right? That's you growing. That's a great thing. Do that. So, I'm going to cover a few more things before I log off for the day. So, today we're talking about fixed mindset and a growth mindset, right? Doing a comparison to both. And someone had just asked a question about imposter syndrome. So, that was great. Yes, absolutely. So Ben had posted a comment. It's better to try and fail than to wonder later if you could have succeeded. Yes. And you know what? If you fail at doing something, there's a great possibility that you can learn, that you can look at that skill that you need to attain success. You can work on developing that skill, improving that skill. So Katie asked, do you believe that passion and life experience can be just as good as a qualification? Katie, I believe that passion and life experience is the best qualification, because I could read all day, every day about something. Yeah, I may have knowledge about it, but I don't have any working experience with it. So that's why group things work so well, right? Whether it's a group support, a group learning experience, a group such as on here on FUD, on here on Facebook, providing that group stuff is a great way to share your qualifications. And I truly, I personally would rather work, if I was seeking someone out, right? I would much rather work with someone who has actual experience doing what it is that they're helping me with. So I truly believe that is life experience can come across as a really good qualification, as long as, now again we're talking in generic, so I'm not quite sure, Katie, what your full question is pertaining to, but if your life experience, if you're going to use your life experience as a qualification to help other people, then you truly have to have a really good handle on not absorbing what it is that you're helping other people with. And I know that's like a really generic answer, but for instance, let me put it into context. If you're helping someone build an online business, right? Say you're helping someone create short form videos. Anyone who knows me knows that I do not like doing short form videos. Put me in front of a camera, tell me you want me to talk about something, and I could do that endlessly, right? Don't trap me into 60 seconds, 30 seconds, 3 minutes, even, right? I just do not like doing them. Can I do them? Yes, I can. When it comes to just sharing whatever it is I want to share, I can press play and I can talk, right? But to create value based short form videos, I just do not, I can't find my sweet spot, right? But that doesn't mean that I can't help someone else learn the framework, right? Build on the framework and then deliver it. I can do that. So, because I understand how it works, I can do that. It doesn't necessarily mean that I have to be able to do that, right? So there are some schools of thought that believe in order to teach someone something, you have to have had success doing it yourself, right? Now, that might be true for a lot of things, but there's a lot of things that it's not true for, right? So that's where I think that balance of life experience and qualification certainly comes in. So hopefully that answers your question, Katie. And thank you so much for everyone that's continuing to rock out with me. So, getting back to mindset, a growth mindset develops by when you praise the efforts. I know I have a New England accent. When you praise efforts and not results, right? Because the efforts are like the skills that are used to obtain the result. So, if in the online space, let's keep it to the online space. If all you're ever looking at to figure out that you're a success, if all you're ever looking at is the sales that you do, if you don't have a sale today, you're going to feel like an epic failure. Versus if you look at the effort that you put in today, if you look at achieving all your non negotiables, if you look at you showed up for your business, you showed up for yourself, right? You showed up to increase your education, then you're going to feel like a success. And that is what someone with a growth mindset does, right? You're not just looking at the outcome. So the outcome is the ultimate goal, right? That's the ultimate goal that you're working towards is the outcome. But everything you do from step zero to achieving that outcome is far more important because if all of your efforts are consistent, your goal is going to constantly be achieved, right? So let's take this back to me failing as a loser, right? If I, when I show up every single day, I follow my meal plan, I follow my exercise routine, right? I get my body working constantly, right? My metabolism is constantly working. So say tomorrow I'm feeling a little meh, right? I'm in my head. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like exercise, blah, 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 blah. All the stuff I tell myself, right? But I still show up to my workout routine. I still show up and have my detox shakes, right? I still drink the amount of water I'm supposed to drink. I still get the sleep I'm supposed to get, right? Today, I didn't achieve my optimal health, right? But everything I did is leading me up to obtaining that goal, right? So, say once I achieve my optimal health, right? And I stopped failing as a loser, everything I do after that will work towards keeping my goal met because I won't gain weight. So that's why you want to praise the efforts and not the outcome. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. So by focusing on the process rather than the outcome, we understand that our efforts and hard work and dedication lead to change, right? I'll say that again. We understand. So when we have a growth mindset, we focus on the process and not the outcome. We understand that our efforts and hard work and dedication lead to change. So learning, growth now and in the future. So every time that you find yourself thinking can't, should have, would have, could have, shoulda, coulda, woulda are three very dangerous words, but they can be three very useful words if you use them in the right way. So I shoulda can cause you to have self doubt, can cause you to get derailed, can cause you to have imposter syndrome, right? I should have done it like blah, blah, blah. You're going to compare yourself, and that can lead to comparitis. I don't know if that's a word, but I like to use it. So, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Those three words can be used as motivation when you look at the process, right? So, you look at the skills that are needed to achieve your goal and you work on building those skills. That's when shoulda, coulda, woulda comes in as tools that you can use. Because then you're like, oh, you know what? I should have blah, 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 blah. And then you make the adjustments for it, right? So you learn from it and you grow from it differently. I could have, okay, I could have saved myself time if I put on both cameras and I went live in several places, right? Rather than what I did last week. I went live on one platform and then I redid it on another, right? So I could have saved time. I thought about that and like, why did I not turn on both cameras? I learned from it, and this week I'm turning on both cameras. So shoulda, coulda, woulda are dangerous words. Can't. So hopefully everyone found this to be extremely helpful. I love mindset. I love online business. I love entrepreneurship. I love how they both intersect. And mindset is one of, in my opinion, from what I've seen, mindset and the support of it and the understanding of it and all of that is a big missing piece from the online space. Now, the coaches I've been fortunate enough to work with are great at helping me as well as others because I see them in working experience. They're great at helping people keep their business mindset in a good space, right? However, it's like the treadmill that you buy, right? You can't say the treadmill sucks if you never plugged it in and turned it on and got on it, right? You can't say that. So if you're not going to do what's recommended that you do to improve, right? Then it's not their fault. So that's where the mindset piece comes in. A lot of reasons why people stay stuck, or a lot of reasons why people stay stalled is because of what's in this, right? What's in this